All right, today we got another gift in the mail. It's a Bluetooth stereo system for the Bobcat here. I ordered it off Amazon, and since the Bobcat and the Coyote are basically the same tractor, they didn't offer a Bobcat one, but they offered a Coyote one, so I figured I'll give it a shot. And I'll open the box up, see what we got inside. Power plug. And basically a radio. So I'll get that out of the box here and see what she looks like. Well, there it is. Doesn't look too bad. This is a single DIN stereo. Since there's not a lot of room up there, it can't be very deep. But yeah, it's Bluetooth, USB, and auxiliary import. So no matter what you got, you should be able to get your tunes in it. I'm looking forward to the Bluetooth part myself. And it came with a remote. I don't know why I would need a remote, seeing how it's within arm's length, but the kids these days. Anyway, I'll pull that cover off and we'll see if this is truly going to be a plug-and-play system. So there's the cover we got to take off. And supposedly right behind it are some wires that should fit that wiring harness that came with the radio. And it should be just a simple plug and play operation. So we'll get this off here and we'll see what it looks like back there. So this just simply pops off. It's got a couple of clips on the back, and I don't know if you can see it, but right there is a connector and an antenna plug. So I have to get some snips and get that zip tie off and pull that out, and I'll read the instructions on this thing, make sure there's not something I'm skipping, but I think this will just pop right in. See you in a minute. Well, this radio came with the mounting sleeve already installed on the radio. So what you've got to do is you've got to get these little doohickeys that came in the package and insert them in the little slots on the side of the radio here. That moves this piece here that's locking the radio to it, releases that, and then you can get that sleeve off and then put that sleeve right up there. So I'll get that sleeve off and we'll see how it fits. Alright, well, I got that zip tie snipped off there. Got to be careful because the spot that they had it zip tied is right around that antenna and wires for the radio. You don't want to cut those when you're cutting the zip ties. So, and getting in there with your hand is kind of a pain. But I got those loose, and then that is a tight fit for this insert. Next thing you got to do is pick some of those tabs and bend them over, whatever works best to hold it in there secure. That's why they give you multiples, so whatever your application, there's a tab for it. So I'll bend a couple of those over, make sure she's good and tight, and then move on to the next step. Alright, Setback number one. If you install the radio, it does not cover these holes here. So you could install it the way it is and just live with those holes. But that's not my personality. I gotta have things nice and pretty. So my only option is to take this bezel that came out of there, and that radio just happens to fit this exact step in it. So I'm gonna go take a Dremel. I'm gonna cut that off or out and test fit it on the radio, make sure it fits it nice and snug. Then I'll have to install this, then this. So I'm going to pull this back out. I'll get this cut out, mount it up there, and then this piece will slide in right up to it. Because if you cut this, leave this in here, then cut this, then try to mount it, your radio is not going to snap in to the holders back here, because the thickness of this is pretty thick, and that just won't allow it in there. So I'm gonna have to cut this, put this on, then that, and then the radio. So something the instructions don't tell you about, and I really haven't found any other information regarding this, so I think at this point cutting it is my best route. So I'll get this cut out and be right back. Alright, I'm back. I've installed this adapter harness. No big deal, it just plugs right in, and this end goes right into the radio. Now as for that piece I cut out, look at that. It turned black and was precision cut. What happened was I started dremeling that cover that was originally in here. Dremel went down through it just fine. Then as I started moving along, apparently the heat from the Dremel was just too much for that plastic. It was really thin, flimsy plastic, and the whole thing just kind of melted away. So I had to do some quick research, and I found this piece on farmradios.com, and it's a thin piece of plastic, but it'll match the air conditioning bezel over there a little better than the gray did. But this piece is 10 bucks, 12 bucks, sorry, and the shipping was 10 bucks. So that's a $22 piece of plastic. They saw me coming, but I think this was the best route to go since my other piece melted. I'm sure somebody could make this at home themselves fairly easy. I just didn't feel like dealing with it. Just paid the money, got it here. So I'm going to install this, then I'll get the sleeve for the radio installed, and we'll go from there. Alright, there she is installed. So now I'll grab the piece that the radio actually sits in, this one here, and I'll just install that up in there, bend the appropriate tabs, and I should be ready to slide the radio in. I'll be right back. Alright, that was a tight fit, but I like tight fits. So now I'll just bend those tabs and plug the radio in and see how she slides in. Alright, She slid right in. Just what we wanted. Everything's nice and neat and tidy. Like I said, it matches the air conditioning bezel just right. They're even kind enough to throw in a couple of these little rubber stoppers to fill in sides over here on the radio that the removal tool goes in, so you don't have to stare at those or get dirt in them. So I'll throw those in, then we should be pretty much done. Put the fuse in and should have power. So I'll get these put in, fuse in, and give her a shot. Alright, so once again we're back over to the handy dandy toolbox slash fuse box, and we got to pop those 3 covers off, and underneath there is some Phillips head screws, and just pull this cover off, and we'll have to find which fuse is for the radio and get one put in. So I'll get this popped off and be right back. Okay, that was quick, easy. Just pull the 3 screws and get you to the relay and fuse box area. So you pop this cover off, and according to this one right here should have a 10 amp breaker in it. So I'll get a breaker, throw it in there, and we'll see if that radio works. Alright, well, they were kind enough to give us some spare fuses. So I just grabbed one of them, popped it in there, put this cover back on, and we should be race ready. So I got those little rubber plugs in there. They fit kind of loose, but I think they'll hold up. If this thing will focus. Well, let's give it a test shot. Key is on. And power. Welcome. All right. And the speakers work. Cool. Well, that's it. This is the semi plug and play install of a radio. It wasn't too bad. Other than this bezel, I'd just recommend either planning ahead and purchasing that bezel there. That was the only one I could find, and it was through farmradios.com. I'll put a link down below for the Amazon website that I got this radio off of, and the farmradios.com. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, put them below. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.